Welcome to Daily Variety, your daily dose of news and analysis for entertainment industry insiders. It's Wednesday, August 26th, 2026. I'm your host, Cynthia Littleton. I am co-editor-in-chief of Variety alongside Ramin Satuda. I'm in LA, he's in New York, and Variety has reporters around the world covering the business of entertainment. On today's episode, my colleague Michael Schneider revisits the lazy, hazy days of the summer of 2000 when Big Brother arrived on the scene for CBS. Believe me, no one back then thought we'd still be talking about this unscripted show. But Big Brother is marking 1,000 episodes on Thursday, August 27th, with a 90-minute live episode that will air on CBS and stream on Paramount+. It's a staggering milestone for a show that people love no matter what the critics say. Michael Schneider has covered Big Brother since its inception in the United States. On today's episode, he speaks with the only host that the show has ever had in the U.S., Chen Moonves, as well as showrunners and executive producers Allison Grodner and Meehan. But before we get to all of that, here are a few headlines just in this morning that you need to know. Meta has agreed to pay $18 billion to be split among all 50 states over the social media giant's business practices that opponents say were specifically designed to keep kids hooked on Facebook and Instagram. The settlement calls for Meta to implement hard caps for the hours that youth can spend on their platforms, among a host of other measures. The settlement was reached a few days after an omnibus trial began August 18th in federal court in San Francisco. The final settlement still needs to be approved by a judge. Tyler Perry has launched a new specialty film label, Maxine. It will focus on titles from emerging filmmakers. The division is named after Perry's mother, Maxine, and that is a nod to Maxine's faith that her son would become a movie mogul one day. Antoinetta Stallings, head of development and acquisitions for Tyler Perry Studios, will oversee the Maxine division. R.I.P. Tim Curry, the British star who died today at age 80, had a long and varied career in movies and on stage, but his work as Dr. Frank N. Furter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show is simply indelible. Fun fact, I danced the time warp with the big group up in the mountains just last month. It's just a jump to the left. All of these stories and so much more can be found on Variety.com right now. And now it's time for conversations with industry leaders about news and trends in show business. My great colleague Michael Schneider, Variety's television editor, interviews the pillars of Big Brother as the CBS reality franchise reaches its landmark 1,000th episode. We'll start with Schneider's conversation with Chen Moonves. She reflects on the show's slightly chaotic launch and how she felt when she realized that Big Brother fans had dubbed her the Chen bot.
We have Chen Moonves. Julie,
hello.
How you doing?
I'm well. I'm always happy to talk to you, Mike.
I was there at Variety covering the launch of Big Brother, and here we are 1,000 episodes in, and you're still doing it. I'm still doing it. So I guess we're survivors. The title of a different show.
I remember it so clearly. I remember beat by beat. I remember lines from the script. I remember being so uncomfortable. I felt like a fish out of water. But I remember feeling excited because we came on a few weeks after Survivor. And Survivor was so big. I thought, ooh, this is going to be epic. And the reviews, it was an epic fail, according to I honestly don't remember one good review. I remember the ratings were fantastic because it was like event programming. We had like the SUVs and the 10 house guests arrived in the SUV and we saw live camera of them coming into, the studio lot. And it was like, whoa. And also because it was such a success where it originated in the Netherlands and one of the creators, he was there overseeing season 1 of Big Brother in America.
Yeah.
And he was so excited. And he was such a nice guy. Paul Romer was a great, brilliant guy. So our hopes and expectations were high. But again, expect the unexpected. I shouldn't have expected it to be amazing season 1 because it was unexpected how much critics hated the show and specifically me on the show. I guess what worked in the Netherlands, which was like, it was like Biosphere 2. And if you're old enough, you know what Biosphere 2 is. But it was like, they're going to have to grow their own food and like, they're going to have their own farm with chickens. So if they want eggs in the morning, and then it's going to be an IKEA that's very homegrown, and it looked it. And we're not going to give them professional lighting, inside the house. So it was a plywood house. And, that might work in parts of Europe, including Amsterdam, but it doesn't work in America. We want it glammed out. We want good lighting. We want Real Housewives. Oh, well, the biggest thing was we let our viewers vote out the house guests every week, which we Americans, we learned the hard way, season 1 of Big Brother. We are very puritanical, and we are very judgy, and we voted out the quote unquote troublemakers, or other people call them the most interesting people in the house.
Right.
I remember David Letterman go, "What's wrong with these house guests? You had a stripper and you voted out the stripper?"
You had mentioned earlier, I mean, people were kind of, they were mean to you, especially the first season, but I feel like you kind of leaned into it after a while, and you started to have a lot of fun with that. When did you sort of learn to kind of just throw it back at people?
I remember exactly how and when it happened. A website put together all of my but first. They splice it together, and they gave me the name, the Chen bot, and it was meant to be an insult. And my agent at the time, he said something on the phone. He was like, "Okay, Chen bot." And I go, "What's that?" I didn't even know what it was. And then he sent me the link. I remember sitting there at like 2 a.m. in my office at CBS News in New York, and I clicked on this link. And at first I was like, I shrunk. I was like horrified. I was like, oh my God, I am like, and it was like, but first. And I thought, oh, I'm not even human. And then at the end, I burst out laughing by myself in my office. I thought, they're not wrong. That criticism, they're not wrong. It's actually funny. It's mean, but it's funny. So if I felt it wasn't true, I probably wouldn't have leaned into it. But because I thought they nailed it, I leaned into it.
Yeah. And then once you started kind of leaning into that, you started to have some real fun, just as the show started to evolve too, and started to go really in some interesting places to the point now where decades in, you guys are doing some wild stuff year after year. The rules are expect the unexpected, as you say.
I mean, I think my greatest broadcast moment in history of broadcasting, I've covered everything, right? In news, like tracked down like the lead hijacker from 9/11, his father, all that. But I think the highlight, I'll say the most memorable line of my career was from the premiere of Big Brother 28, when I said with a deadpan straight face that Rachel Riley had been eaten by a velociraptor. And I wasn't even smiling. It was a fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you have to laugh at yourself, and you have to just have fun with it. People know Big Brother, we're kitschy, we laugh at ourselves.
Yeah. No, especially all these years in. I mean, can you believe 1,000 episodes in?
No. I cannot believe
26 years in.
I don't even know how to measure that. Like that song from Rent, 565,600, whatever it is. Like, I don't know how to measure 1,000 episodes. We need our own song. We should take that tune and change the words to make it Big Brother. I'll call Zingbot and see if you can do that.
I think so. I see if you can clear that. Yeah.
And now Schneider connects with the architects of all of this human drama, Big Brother showrunners Allison Grodner and Rich Meehan.
Hello, Allison Grodner and Rich Meehan. How are you guys doing?
We're great, in the thick of it. So all exciting, an exciting season. For sure.
Yeah. What is it like to be in the thick of it, in the middle of a season right now? What is your life like? Do you have any free time, or are you just watching feeds 24/7? You're there. You're in the control room. What's going on right now with you two?
We just got off our first screening of the Wednesday show, literally right before this. So we're seeing the first rough cut of the Wednesday show, while simultaneously watching the pretty exciting veto meeting go down live. And then juggling the 1000th and all the extra stuff we're doing for that episode. So it's
Big Brother Unlocked. So it all happens simultaneously all summer long.
Well, is it cliche to say it's a well-oiled machine at this point, or are there still sort of every once in a while just curveballs that throw you for a loop after 1,000 episodes?
Oh, I mean, it still is, sorry, cliche, but expect the unexpected for us as well.
Well, Allison shared the tagline. I mean, we know it's expect the unexpected, and so is that a challenge every year to kind of live up to that, to outdo yourselves, to make sure that there are some surprises, some curveballs, some unexpected elements? What kind of pressure is that like after all these years?
What's fun is, yes, dreaming up all of this to make sure that there's things that are new and different. But even without any of that, I think just a new mix of people in the house, it's always going to yield the unexpected. It's so hard to completely predict how people are going to react to this crazy social experiment and competition and the format that we've put in place.
So what would you say, I mean, when you think about house guests over the years and how people have changed the gameplay and how they've evolved in watching the show, but also just how humans have evolved over the past 26 years, what have you noticed? You're kind of front lines of human nature. The books, the essays you could write about human beings after watching how people have evolved over the years. What do you notice now that has changed the most or is the most striking to you two?
Well, I mean, I think that I always say they should require sort of anthropologists to come and study this and really look at it from a scientific perspective about sort of how humans have changed and how they deal with this environment. But we've seen over a quarter century of that, especially the 20-something, right? But I think the biggest thing would be technology. There's no doubt about it. We started before social media, before when you were getting the live feeds on dial-up, right? And so we've really seen how big an influence phones, and I mean, it seems obvious, I guess, but you really see it. Phones, screens, social media, how that has impacted generations and changed so much how they think about what they're doing in the house and think about how it's affecting them on the outside, how it affects them on the outside. And I think just in general, just being disconnected from that. I mean, what an amazing 3-month detox for people and, to see how they change after and their relationship to social media and screens and tech in general.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting that we've seen is people spending so much time on technology and on your phone or when you're talking to people might be very different than who you are when you put them in a room with people and they have to communicate face to face. It's a really interesting dynamic because a lot of times you see someone that has maybe a great persona online, but then you meet them in the room and you're like, oh, wow, it doesn't really translate. When you put someone face to face, it's not exactly the same, which is interesting. That never used to be a thing. And now it's definitely something that you have to really, especially in casting, look out for, like, is this who they really are? And we won't know that until we meet them in person.
And how people communicate. It's really interesting to see some of these 20-somethings and 30-somethings now, and having to communicate, as Rich is saying, face to face. I think everyone is used to texting and sending memes and all of that, and then having to have these conversations and full sentences. It's so different from when we first started the show.
Yeah, you're doing a service to Gen Z, many of whom were not born when Big Brother started, which is also
that is true.
Crazy.
That is true.
Yes.
They don't know a world without Big Brother, which is pretty incredible. How do you think gameplay has changed? I'm always amazed when you bring back some of the veterans and they're not immediately voted out, that they managed to stick around.
I think it's twofold maybe. One is they're really good at the game. The other thing is they're kind of like celebrities a bit in the Big Brother world, in the Big Brother universe, or in the Survivor universe. So when you have people coming in to play the game and they know them or they're fans of them, sometimes they want to work with them. So you get kind of this mix of, like, some people might want to target them, but other people are kind of enamored with them. And they've managed to do well enough where they're not taking out those first weeks of the game. And this season is the same and we've seen that in the past seasons as well.
They're starstruck.
I think about now that the show's been on for as long as it has, how the world has changed, how television has changed, how CBS has changed. You guys have gone through so much, including, of course, pandemic, but also just the business changing too. What do you make of how Big Brother has both reflected those changes, but also has been a part of those changes?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, at the beginning, it was us and Survivor for the most part out there in that competition realm, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And yet we're still really the only one that's as live as we currently are with the live feeds and all of that. And I think we were ahead of that tech at first, as you were saying before, that was dial up to phones but we were plugging along, trying those things. And so we always say that in many ways, technology caught up to us, but we're always trying to also stay a step ahead. I think that's kept us current. We also, in our twists and our themes, try to reflect what's going on in the zeitgeist as well. We tackled AI in our Big Brother way a couple of seasons ago. True crime this last season. I think at one point with our multi-universe and all of that was a big deal that summer with all of the movies. So we're always trying to reflect pop culture, reflect what's current, and keep pace with emerging technology and social media.
Yeah, the fun thing about Big Brother is a lot of shows have to stay in a specific world. They don't really have the opportunity to kind of change and evolve. And that's one of the things we prioritize is like, we always want to be able to evolve. We always want to be able to adjust, look at what's popular, what can we take from it? What can we parody from it? And have fun and embrace, like, obviously the strategic nature of the game is always going to be there, but what are some of the other layers that we can add into the game each summer?
Yeah, you must find it funny when you see the streamers embracing live these days. You're like, guys, we've been doing that for 26 years before there was such a thing as streaming.
That is right. We definitely helped pioneer that. And I think really no other show is and I'll dare to say brave enough to take that on, Even Love Island doesn't stream live.
Yeah, no, you're way ahead of the game. So tell me about episode 1000. What's the plan? What do you guys have cooking?
It's huge. It's a big deal. It's crazy to think that we've actually completed 1000 episodes. And this is just the mothership. This doesn't take into account Celeb or anything like that. And so it really is a achievement. We're shocked that we are the first show to achieve that in prime time. So we're going to embrace it. We're going to celebrate it on August 27th. We're going to look back at some of our history and greatest moments. And we've got interactive votes that have been put out there on social media about favorite moments, favorite quotes, favorite players, all of that. And all of that is going to play a big role in at least the first part of the show. And so we're going to have some fun celebrating that with a few big surprises and key appearances from people at fan favorites and people from the past. And then it's really a big night that just like any Thursday night with eviction and a blockbuster. And Rich, you want to talk a little bit about sort of some of the special things at the end of the show?
We're obviously inviting a lot of previous house guests.
Well, Allison and Rich, congratulations on 1,000 episodes. Got a couple thousand more in you?
A couple thousand. It took 26 years to get here. So I could only imagine.
As we close out today's episode, here's a few things we're watching for. Don't miss Variety's latest cover story, published today in print and online. This week features Jack O'Connell, star of Searchlight Pictures, Inc. The Rupert Murdoch origin story from Helmer Danny Boyle is headed to the Venice Film Festival next week. And finally, as discussed in Tuesday's episode, after this week we are going to be consolidating all of Variety's business podcast activity under the Strictly Business banner. Many listeners already receive Daily Variety through the Strictly Business feed. If not, please make sure that you subscribe to Variety's Strictly Business podcast, which you can find on iHeart and every other podcast platform. After Labor Day, we'll be back with a new iteration of Strictly Business Daily, which will have the newsy feel of Daily Variety. We will not be giving up on the long-standing Friday Strictly Business episode, featuring a long-form interview with industry leaders in the business of media and entertainment. There's much to come, so please make sure that you're subscribing to Variety's Strictly Business. Before we go, congrats to Gabs Landman. She's been promoted to Executive VP of A&R for Warner Chappell Music, the publishing arm of Warner Music Group. Landman joined Warner Chappell in 2022, and she is based in Los Angeles. Thanks for listening. This episode was written and reported by me, Cynthia Littleton, with contributions from Michael Schneider. Sticks, Nicks, Hick Picks. Please leave us a review at the podcast platform of your choice, and don't forget to tune in Thursday for the final episode of Daily Variety.